So good to see you. You're muted, babe. There you are. Hi.
Sweetheart.
How are you? What a treat to have you
How
here.
you been? I thought I would jump on. I hadn't talked to you or seen you in so long, and I'm like, I've
So
got to
great to
catch
see you.
up.
Listen, every time I teach the Akashic Records, I talk about you. And I say,
How overwhelmed I was.
listen, I say, there's an extraordinary psychic, and she teaches the tarot every day. And she sat there for 15 minutes because I just taught it last night. And I said, you guys are going to get 15 minutes in there. And I said, she literally sat there for 15 minutes with tears streaming down her face. And I was so nervous. And at the end, I said, how was that? And she said, other than the birth of both my son and my daughter, that was the most profound experience I've ever had.
I just got chills. I just got
Oh,
chills.
me too. So Hannah was in that class last night. She had her first experience being in the Akashic Records. And so everyone, this is my good friend, Kathy Mamelin. Kathy's an extraordinary psychic and medium, and she reads cards, and she's just amazing. And I adore her, and she's helped me tremendously. And these are some people. Hannah actually works for me, works with me. Donna is a new friend. Willem and Jill have been with me on this journey for a couple of years now, as we've been working through the Course in Miracles and the Way of Mastery and such. So most recently, back in 1996, I was in my first Reiki class. And in that class, I had an experience on the very last day of training where with someone with their hands over my throat, I kept trying to say something, and literally the lights in the house started flashing on and off. And out of the sky at 10 o'clock in the sky, a golden beam of light comes and hits me in my third eye. And I say the word Hathor. And my Reiki master says, I thought you kept trying to say Heather. And her symbol hits me in my third eye. And I sit up from the table and I say, I need a pen and paper. And I write her name down. And then I draw this symbol. And this is 1996. So, there's no internet. You can't look stuff up. But what I see is this, and it looks like a sun disk to me with cow horns. And I'm told, so this is like the symbol that I drew, right? And so the next day, Tara, the girl who had her hands on my throat, there was a guy named Mark who was there, and my girlfriend Maureen, who's a Reiki master. We go traipsing off to Barnes and Noble because that was kind of like the internet of 1996. And I said, do you guys know who or what a Hathor is? And they said she is the Egyptian goddess of women. And I was like, okay, maybe that's why I've always been so drawn to Egypt. So I'm in the process of packing and moving, and I have one painting that I've left in my office, and this is the painting. And this is a painting of Hathor.
Beautiful.
And look, her eyes are purple. Okay.
Beautiful.
So this painting is done by a woman named Sandy Ingham, who lives in England. And Sandy's distinction is that she channels Leonardo da Vinci. And then she's like, I'm stick figure girl. She said, I can't draw or paint to save my life. But Leonardo comes through her and tells his stories and does these incredible works of art. So I said to Hathor, why do you look like you have cat ears and cat? And she said, because we're from Lyra and it was a feline race. That's why cats were admired in Egypt. Anyway, so lately I've been doing a lot more work with Hathor and then made peace with Isis because there was a bunch of drama with Isis from 9,000 years ago. And Hathor's like, okay, so we're going to start teaching Egyptian high magic, the true art of manifestation. And I'm like, what's that? And she said, it's the way of manifesting without inducing karma. And I'm like, oh my God, that sounds amazing. Hello, my darling. It's good to see you, Donna. Oh, wait, who is that? Oh no, Donna's down there. Okay. Anyway, so
Zoom user.
I'm teaching a class on the 30th. It's going to be a 2-hour class. I'm going to be channeling both Hathor and Isis. And they're bringing forth, and she was doing a whole download with me during meditation of what this is. Good afternoon, everybody. Hey, Donna. Of what manifestation is all about. So I remember in 1987, I worked for a gentleman, his name was Mark, and I was the business and finance manager. And I also handled something that was called the 6 Day, which was a ropes course. And it was an expensive course. And you know, if the regular course was like 250, this thing was like $695, which was a lot of money in the early 80s, right? Even in the late 80s. So he said to me, how many enrollments are you going to have this week? And usually you'd be lucky if one or two came through. And I went through like a rift, like a temporal rift, like a little crack in the cosmos. And I said 6. And he goes, you're not going to have 6. And I said, no, I'm going to have 6. And I literally stepped out into the future where the 6 existed. And then I pulled the present to that future. And lo and behold, I had 6. I had 2 couples that registered. And then I went to an event and 2 more people registered. And he's like, how did you do that? And I said, I stepped out into the future. That's how I manifest. And I've been telling people this for however many years that is, 33 years, that this is how I manifest. So Hathor came to me and she said, the way in which you did that is how you manifest. Because sometimes what people will do, oh good, Yumi's coming in from Hawaii, how fun is this? Because sometimes what people will do when they manifest is it's kind of like when you drink coffee and it has to leach vitamins from your body to be able to process. Sometimes when people will manifest, they'll take something from somebody else and it induces karma. So there's a meditation that we're going to be doing. There's going to be instructions for how to do this. On TikTok, I think they call it jumping timelines. It's going to be a way that you're going to be able to look at what it is that you want, have a full-on experience of that thing already being done, and then be able to go to where that exists already and literally like turn around and just pull what you have known to be the present to that future. It's really extraordinary. I mean, there's a few more steps along the way, but it's, you know, one of the ways that I was first taught magic by a woman who said to me, if anybody ever asks you if you're a witch, you always deny it. You always deny that you're a witch. And I'm like, okay, what if I'm a good witch? And she goes, nope. What if I'm a white witch? She said, nope, you never say that. However, she taught me a few things. So I will never say that she is a witch, nor will I say that I am a witch, but I will say that there is magic afoot. So what she said is that you learn to draw upon the elements. So in the north, we have air. It is knowledge. In the east, we have fire, which is wisdom. In the south, we have water, which is emotions. And in the west, we have the body. It's money, it's pentacles. So it's, you know, like diamonds are where is the west, hearts are the south, clubs are the north, it's the knowledge. And then in the east, you've got the spades. So I also read the cards of destiny, which is based on the 52 playing cards, which is different than the tarot that Kathy reads, that she's extraordinary with. To me, the tarot is, they took the 22 major arcana, which correlate to the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet and have a whole other bunch of significances. And then they added the regular deck of playing cards. One of the craziest stories I had, and Kathy, I don't know if I ever told you the story, but my sister sends me this tiny little silver box. It's like a tin box, and I open it up and there's a bent deck of cards, a full deck of cards. And there are these newspaper clippings from 1928 laying out all of the meaning of all the cards and of the hearts and the cards of destiny system that I have been studying for 10 years. And I'm like, where did you get this? And she goes, it was grandma's. And I said, you're kidding me. So this is the grandmother I never met, who's been my guide my whole life, who may or may not have come from a witchy background, as did her mother and her mother before her, and my whole family lineage of psychics and mediums that nobody wants to talk about. Shh, whatever. So I look at this deck and my grandmother says, this was meant for you. I had your aunt send it to you. This is my mother's sister. And she said, this is the deck that I used to use when I read the cards of destiny. So I'm like crying as she's like channeling through me. So there's a lot of this, you know, and I laid out the cards and I did the quadration. And I mean, it was a crazy metaphysical experience. But my appreciation for understanding, like people are in these cards, and Kathy, you can confirm this with me. Like you turn over a card and you can completely describe who this person is in whoever you're doing the readings for, his life is. Really, really extraordinary. We have already manifested our lives. We've planned and ordained exactly how it's going to go before we ever got here. So Kathy and I look like geniuses because we're like, oh, and this is going to happen. And people come back and they go, oh my God, that happened. How did you know? And we're like, because we're brilliant. But we also have, a little help along the way called the cards. So there's a whole way of manifesting that you will come to know and understand as how it is that you've designed life, and it's all laid out. There's a book that I use called the Ancient Book of Time that shows what's going to be manifest in your life, and including you learning how to manifest and how to jump timelines and how to take yourself out of the situations that you're in. So say you have created a contract for yourself where you're going to have a condition in your life where you've decided that, through whatever your illness is, you're going to cause yourself to lose your vision. Okay. There is acceptance of why that is that way, but there is always the opportunity to step into another timeline where you, out of your own personal will and volition and the proper use of your mind through the laws of, it's the law, I want to call it the law of like acceptance, the law of anticipation. Neville Goddard calls it the law of, starts with an A. Oh my God, what's the word? Like, that something is going to be assumption. I just had a total brain fart, senior moment. Yes, the law of assumption. So when you assume that something is a certain way, you literally match yourself to the frequency of that thing, the energy of it. Because you can talk words all day, but when you infuse emotions into it, you're going to manifest an entirely different reality. So you look at what it is that you have in your life and you accept for a moment that everything that you have in your life is something that you yourself have agreed to. You have said, I'm going to think these thoughts, I'm going to feel these feelings, and between thoughts and feelings, I'm going to manifest something. And then you say, okay, that's what I've created. But you know what? I think I'd like to create something new. I think I'd like to reverse this illness. I think I would like to have a miracle and have this thing disappear. I think I would like to have my bones straighten out. There's another brilliant woman, Viana Stabal, who works with theta healing, where when you get, beta is where we exist, alpha is one level of meditation, and then there's theta. And when you can go to theta, you can literally completely change the physical reality through what it is that you're thinking, through how it is you're commanding something to come into existence. You don't beg and please, Jesus, please make this thing happen for me. No, you command it. Mother, Father, God, Source, Creator. It is commanded that I see with 20/20 vision. You know that that's your reality. You have such a faith and understanding in creation itself, in God, in Goddess, whatever you want to call it. And then from there, you say, thank you. You know that it is done. And then you say, it is done, it is done, it is done, it is so, it is so, it is so, and so it is. Whatever your verbiage is, you say that 3 times, and you will bring that thing into manifestation. There's a beautiful meditation that I'm going to be taking everybody through, attuning them to a frequency for manifestation and a way that we're going to do a clean slate on whatever's gone before, or whatever it is that you have thought about the way that things are, and the place where you feel victimized by certain conditions, the place where you feel like this happened to me and it wasn't my fault, I didn't have anything to do with it. Here's the good news and the bad news. The good news and the bad news is there are no victims, and you had 100% to do with everything that happened to you. And look, I've had some heinous shit happen in my life, like crazy, crazy stuff. But the moment that I could take responsibility for it, I knew I could shift it. Because as long as you're pushing it back, staving it off and saying, I didn't have anything to do with that, I'm the victim of it, you have absolutely no power. But the minute you're willing to put your hand on the gear knob, you can, it's almost like we go through life with our hands on the rearview mirror, wondering why we keep having accidents in front of us. Manifestation is about taking your hands off the rear mirror and putting it on the steering wheel and being able to discern where it is that you want your vehicle to go, whether you're flying, whether you're in a boat, whether you're driving, whether you're a little tricycle or bicycle or whatever, wherever it is, a scooter. I really want to have a scooter. I so want to have a scooter, little motorized scooter, pink. Totally want a motorized pink scooter. I'm going to manifest that. Visualize it. You bring all of the emotion to it. You claim that it is yours. You literally ask the universe to help you step into the timeline where that exists. You believe it so deeply, and you literally manifest that reality. You guys get what I'm talking about? Does this make sense? Any questions? I mean, there's more to it. This is the, half an hour version of it. Willem.
Yes.
I said, does anyone have any questions? And you unmuted yourself.
Did I? I didn't think I was muted.
Oh, did you?
The only thing that comes up is this is something that you've mastered, acquired, whatever you want to call it, over some years, having been exposed to and trained in a lot of different, shall we say, psychic ways, right? How easy is it for ordinary people like myself to pick that up?
Listen, you keep trying to tell everyone that you're a muggle, but I gotta listen, Gandalf. I have a very, very
Muggle.
different story. You're the farthest thing from a muggle that I've ever met. Here's what it takes, my love. It takes faith and it takes belief. And if you're willing to apply both of those, if you're willing to have the most sure and certain knowledge that something is a certain way, you can't help but manifest it. It is truly the law of assumption. It is truly the law of attraction. You know, it's funny. I've seen a lot of people who said, "Oh, I tried to do the law of attraction for years, but when I got to the law of assumption, and I was like, well, what was the difference?" So I bought one of Neville Goddard's books, and he said, it has to be a frequency match. It has to be like the most sure and certain knowledge that something is a certain way, and the emotions come with it. The belief comes with it. It's like a horse with blinders on. You know that it's going to be that way, and you will manifest it. Now, there's a clearing that needs to happen, and that's going to be part of the meditation. There's a 20-minute meditation that I'll be taking everybody through. Because what it's going to do is it's going to attune you to a frequency. We're going to take you to theta, and in theta, you're then going to manifest what it is that you want. What happens with the mind, and I learned this when I was 1990, I started my ministerial training, and I was studying at the Church of Religious Science, Ernest Holmes' body of work. And there was this very simple 5-step prayer that we did. We claimed that we knew that God was real. We claimed that we knew that we were connected to God. And anything that we spoke into the law of the universe was made manifest because we were connected to the mind of God. And when you access that realm, which is beyond the ordinary mind that you think with, where you think, oh my God, what am I going to make for dinner? And is my wife cheating on me? And what am I going to do about my children? And am I going to get fired at my job? That's not the mind we're talking about. The mind we're talking about is the mind of God. When you go deeply into meditation and you've come to the theta realm, which is where this all happens, helps to have beautiful angelic guided, music to go with it. Whatever you plant there can't help but germinate. It is an absolute immutable law of the universe. And you claim it as being so. You claim that it is done, and then you just let it be in the universe. Every thought you think creates a manifestation. And Jesus has said, if you knew the power of your thoughts, you would never criticize and you would never think another negative thought again. And in a perfect world, that's how we all exist. Now, I'm human, and at times I have a little bit of assholery that goes on with me. I don't know about the rest of you. But, I have my moments of darkness. I have my moments of shadow. I have my moments of getting triggered. I have my 2 minutes before I'm supposed to go live, and my mother calls and she won't get off the phone, and she needs to talk to me about her birthday, which is in 2 weeks. And then I end up being late, and I have to forgive her, and I have to forgive myself for picking up the call. But I'm thinking, oh my God, mom's calling. Is everything okay? She wants to talk about the seating arrangements at her birthday party. Very important to her. Meanwhile, I got 12 people waiting for me online. Mom, I gotta go. You can't hang up on your mother.
Oh, yeah.
So there's still a little more work to do there. Still a little more growth to do. But manifestation, we've made it so difficult. We've made it so complicated, and it's not. Literally, there are legions of beings on the other side that want to help us have everything that we want. They just want to know. Hold on, guys. Let me close the door. I have people here helping me pack. For the ordinary guy, is it easy, Willem? Absolutely. In fact, it's probably easier for the ordinary guy because they're not going to complicate it with all of the spiritual knowledge and wisdom. I had a meeting with Metatron yesterday, and he said, you've done a great job with everything on the spiritual realm, but there's a place now where you need to have the same abilities in the physical realm. And it starts with intimacy, and intimacies means being willing to be completely transparent. And he said, there are places where you've been really, really honest with yourself and with others. And then there are places where you haven't quite been as honest. And I thought of two things, and I was like, oh yeah, I gotta clean those things up. So all of us are walking this path together, and I don't know anybody who's perfect, you know? I don't know anybody who's perfect, but I know that what I am is perfectly Lynn, you know? And every time that, and Hathor and Isis, I'm going to be channeling both of them, and they're going to be bringing through some information that I don't even know about. That's about how, see, what Jesus was able to do. He was taught in the temples in Kabbalah, and Isis talks about it in the Sophia Code. And she said, what is known as modern day Kabbalah was what was taught in her temples in Egypt. And that's where Jesus and his siblings were trained and taught. That's where his mother was trained and taught. So the stuff that's being brought through, you know, this is Egyptian high magic. I mean, I heard that and I had goosebumps all over my flesh. So I'm really, really excited to bring this forth. It's going to be 2 hours. It's going to be March 30th from 1 to 3 Eastern time. It's going to be extraordinary. Hathor has been coming forth really, really strongly lately. And I have a morning group that I meet with, and she's been offering herself to, you know, have conversations with people. And once people have a conversation with her, they're kind of mind blown by it, you know? I know that Jill's had a conversation with her. I know that Willem's had a conversation with her. She's pretty extraordinary. So it's going to be quite a treat to have both of them there. A lot of people think that a lot of what were Hathor was Isis, because Isis kind of put Hathor's, she put her little helmet on, and everyone's like, oh, that's Isis, that's Isis. And it was really Hathor. But I forgive her. Anyway, they're both incredible. Hathor is definitely much more like the force of nature, and Isis is a lot more playful. But between the two of them, there's going to be some amazing exercise. There's going to be some journaling that work. There's going to be a meditation. And even for the Muggle born, there's going to be an opportunity to recognize, you know, their magic, their inner magic, for sure. Any questions? What do you guys want to know?
Yeah, I have a question. Once
Again?
sorry, it's me. I'm
Jill's
just
one of my
being,
dearest
I'm
friends.
being the real me. So
She
here I go.
always, no, this is what I love about Jill. Jill always has questions. It's the best. Talk to me, baby.
So once one masters this manifestation technique in their life, do you also have the freedom and ability to bring things forth for family members or loved ones or others?
Not without their permission, because that's not the way that it works.
But with their permission.
Yeah. I mean, if you were going against someone's personal will, that's why I won't ever do a healing for somebody without their permission. I won't ever read their Akashic records without their permission. Kathy, you would never do a reading for somebody without their permission. People will come to you and they'll say, well, can you tell me why my husband does this thing? And I say, no, I can't. I'm sorry. Your husband can ask me, or you can ask me about your dynamic with them, but you can't, it's laws that we have as psychics and mediums.
Free will.
Channels. Yeah, exactly. And it's free will. And, you know, if you're asking out of fear, and I don't, you know, I'm not operating in that. I'm here to bring forth love.
Yeah.
So absolutely, Jill, if you have permission from them, absolutely. You know, that's, someone else will say, can you please send prayers for my mother? And, you know, I'll say, what's your mother's name? Do I have your mother's permission? And wait for them to get back to me, because it's really important. Yeah, it's exactly what you said, Dawn. It's about free will, you know, and you don't want to impinge on that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Does that answer your question, Lovey? Yeah. But, you know, here's the one thing I know. When I decided to change certain things, all of a sudden my mother, my father, my sister, my brother seemed completely different, which I thought was really interesting, because the reflection that the people that are closest to us are in our lives, when we do the healing work, suddenly they get better, or the relationship gets better, because everything is a reflection of some aspect of us. You know, even the conditions of what's going on in the world, somewhere inside of us, we have agreed to be in the consciousness of this. So it is our own inner healing work that needs to happen to bring peace to this entire planet, you know? Yumi, I'm so happy that you're here. Kathy, hi, baby.
Couple things are happening. First, I want to know, does the name I'm a rhymer, as you know that.
Yeah.
Hera, or Sarah mean anything to you while I've been talking to you?
Sarah does.
Okay.
Sarah was the name that I had when I was one of Jesus's sisters. That was my name.
That name has been the whole time you've been talking. I'm just like enveloped with Sarah energy around you. So that was the first thing that happened. Oh, my hands just tingled. So Sarah wants to talk to you, whoever Sarah is.
Well, and Sarah was also, oh, this is so interesting. I was in Israel in 2009. It was I've had two metaphysical experiences in my life. One was the one with Hathor, and then one, I'm at the Mount of Olives. I put my hand on this blue gravestone. The guy in the gravestones of the Sadiqim are all this color of blue. So I put my hands on this gravestone. I'm in the Mount of Olives. It's 113 degrees. I'm waddling. I'm as fat as hell. I was like 50 pounds heavier than I am now. And I'm just like miserable. I make my way over this grave. Everybody had their hands on there. I touch this gravestone. A golden shaft of light comes down like 4 feet in diameter. And the guy in the grave starts talking to me. And I didn't know that I had mediumship abilities at this point. This is 2009. And he says, your father is waiting for you. And telepathically, I say back, my father. And he says, Abraham. And I said, Abraham. And he said, you know him as Avram. And Avram was a guide that I've had since I was young, who comes to me and we go to a stone pyramid, and he shows me sacred geometry. And what I learned was that, and I'm ordained in the order of Melchizedek as a priestess. Melchizedek came to Avram and Sarai and said, you will be Abraham and the leader of 3 nations, and you will be Sarah. And the guy in the grave said to me, you were one of his daughters. So then we go to Hebron, and I'm standing in front of Abraham's grave. And again, my name is Sarah. And he's, communicating with me in all these past lives. So a few months later, I'm with my best friend, and all of a sudden I go, there's someone in the room that wants to talk to you. And she's like, what? And she had a boss that she worked with. He was a doctor. She was one of his therapists. He went to save his son in an undertow and saved the son, but he died. And his name was Sam. And he talked with her and had this whole conversation. And I told her stuff that there's no way I would have known. And she said, I didn't know you could talk to dead people. And I said, neither did I, until I went to Israel a few months ago. So that opened up that whole ability. So the name Sarah is 2 names I've had as a daughter of Abraham and sister of Jesus in my past.
Well, I'm just watching you, and of course I'm hearing Sarah. So that was the first thing. So thank you for sharing that. That's cool. The second thing is we had 222 on the clock, and Spirit asked me to look that up. And 222 is I am balanced in the angel world. And it says, I'm just going to read it to you, because it says, trust that the seeds of your thoughts are growing as you are nourishing them with words, feelings, and actions. And you had said a moment ago, oh, my whole body just chilled. You had said a moment ago, we were talking about the energy, right? And the easiest way for people to understand, because I talk a lot about frequency also, is turning on a radio. Okay.
Yes.
You don't connect to a radio station until the dial is lined up, right? Otherwise,
Right.
It's like fuzzy.
It's off. Yeah, you could be off by 1 degree.
Right, off by 1 degree, and you're not connecting.
Sure,
So you get that emotional state into the same connection as your frequency, and then your frequency is in alignment, and you're literally turned on, right? Your radio turns on. You start hearing the music. That's the easiest way for people to understand it. So when you were talking about, I want to help you connect to the emotion, like, for me, that helped me understand it, like,
Exactly.
I have to go back to the basics.
But Kathy, it's literally like if your zip code is off 1 digit, your letter doesn't get to you.
Right.
If your frequency is off by 1 degree, because your emotion doesn't match what it is that you say that you want, it misses.
Right.
Like airplanes missing each other,
That's right.
If it is, and I love what you're saying, because it is about a frequency. It's about attuning yourself to a frequency. And when you think about the word emotion, emotion is energy in motion. The E stands for energy in motion.
All it is. It's all
just,
it is.
And that's all it is. So I have Jill and Willem and I have a friend named Gene, and Gene was saying today that he's been really, really sick for about a week. He tested himself for COVID. He's been negative for COVID, but he's just felt really, really sick. And we did a really big emotional healing that he wasn't willing to finish. So he's still kind of caught in the emotion of it. And I said, look, this is all information in the form of energy that's trapped in your body that wants to come out. It's basically knocking on the door going, can you let me out? So what we have to look at is that anything in our life that we say that we have that we don't want, we have drawn to us through some frequency of emotion ourselves. And if we want that thing to leave, we have to address it. We have to have a conversation with it. We have to bring love to it, because there's neither love or fear. And when there's energy that we're holding on to, it's because instead of letting it flow through us, we've said, this is too much. It came to me too fast. It came to me too hard. I can't. And what happens is we block it and it backs up. And if you don't move it out, it turns into illness in the body, things we don't want to see, things we don't want to feel, things we don't want to know, things we don't want to hear, turns into tumor, turns into cancer, turns into all kinds of things. So it's really about getting in touch with yourself, which is a very bigger and deeper conversation. But for the laws of manifestation, Willem, I would say, come check it out. The worst thing that happens is you spent a couple hours with me and you didn't learn a damn thing. The best thing that happens is you master the art of manifestation. I want to thank you all so much for being here. You obviously found me all on Facebook. If this is something that you think you want to do, I can drop you the link. You can check it out. See if you want to come and join us. It's going to be 2 amazing, amazing hours, especially when Hathor and Isis come through. They're such different energies, but boy, frequencies are really extraordinary.
I came across you first on YouTube.
Yes. I have been, so funny. I have been making videos for the past couple of years. Last year, I spent a journey of channeling Mary Magdalene every single day, going through the lessons of A Course in Miracles. And there's a whole bunch of channeling of Jesus. There's channeling of Hathor. There's channeling of Kuan Yin, Mother Mary, Archangel Michael. There's a whole bunch up there. I didn't think this. I was a banker for 25 years. I didn't think this was what I was going to be doing. In fact, I used to do psychic work for people that were my clients, and I would say, shh, don't tell anybody. Like, I have to keep this hidden. And now I'm like, I'm everywhere. It's not hard to miss me.
Yeah, Mary Magdalene's very.
Because you're gifted and you're amazing, and God puts people in front of you who need to hear your messages. So thank you, sweetheart.
If you guys want a reading that's going to blow your mind, you got to check Kathy out.
This isn't about me. I just came to sit in the audience. I
know, but listen, I've got goosebumps. I get around you. It's like when 2 psychics get around each other, they enhance each other. And I'm so delighted that you're here. Yeah. And I love that Priyanka, I have an assistant named Priyanka who Kathy's been working with, and she's just an amazing.
She's awesome.
Yeah, Priyanka's amazing. Really, really cool. Anybody have any questions? Hello to Orlando. Hello to Yumi. Hello, Joel. Thank you all so much for coming. Thank you. I love you too.
Just really happy to be here.
Yeah.
And everything, because I've been going through most of my journey, and a lot of my gifts and everything else, I was able to express it to my great grandmother and my grandmother and my grandfather and things like that.
Yeah.
I've always known and seen things and experienced things. And it's just like, when I start, I'm just like, I know there's more. And then
a lot more
people always come into my path and everything. But you talking about Mary Magdalene and Metatron and all of those is just like, hey, that's my family.
Exactly.
Because
I'm a needle in a haystack. People don't get drawn to me because I'm everywhere. I have 1,000 videos on YouTube, but I have like 800 followers. Like it's a very narrow band. But if you're here, you've been brought in by spiritual guidance. I know that for sure. For absolute sure. There's no question. We all come together because our souls are deeply connected.
We're all one.
We are all one. Exactly. So I thank you all for being here. And Carol, yes, Carol is in my quantum healing workshop. And I had 6 people in January for 6 weeks, and then we have another class that just started for another 6 weeks. Jill has been certified by me to actually teach this. Jill and Willem have gone through a year-long training and curriculum with me, and actually Hannah's in that class as well. And I teach people psychic healing tools. I teach people to use the same things that I do to heal people, because I promised Jesus that before I died, 1 million people would be trained, and I think I'm at about 3,000. So I got a little ways to go. So if you
can
guys,
do it.
yeah, listen, I'm eating raw vegan so that I can be really healthy. Here's my green junk, so that I can be really healthy and live a long life. I used
That's
to
what
be,
I
listen, I used to be double cheeseburger, large fry, and a vanilla milkshake, and pizza girl. Not anymore. Not anymore. Can't do it. Got to keep that frequency high. Anyway, thank you all for being here. If you have any questions, reach out to me on Facebook. If you want the link to check out what we're doing on the 30th, it's going to be really, really cool, guys. I promise. They always deliver.
Thank
I
you.
love you all.
Thank you,
Kathy, it was
thank
so good to see you,
you.
baby. Mwah. I love you. Thank you all
Yes,
for being
right.
here.
Yes.
See you guys. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good day.
Bye.